in insurance now. Yeah, I've been with Feather for about 6 years, and yeah, we build products for expats. So today you'll find out a little bit about legal insurance. I know, yeah, I think I've been spending far too much of my life with insurance. Yeah, hopefully we get to talk about it tonight. Over to you, Julian.
Spending a bit too much time with insurance sounds familiar. Yeah, I'm Julian. I'm a trained lawyer and insurance broker. I've been at Feather since 2019, so also a couple of years already.
Cool. Yeah, jumping in. Feather, what do we do? Who are we? We try and make insurance as easy and understandable as possible if you don't speak German. So signups are all completely in English, terms and conditions in English and in German. If you want to submit a claim, that's in English. And if you want to book a call with anyone on the team, that's in English. All the insurance you ever need is in one account. And yeah, I think we're probably the best rated insurance company you've ever come across. So both on Google and Trustpilot, just have a look, if those are real reviews by real people. We do actually deliver incredible service. Yeah, so how do we build insurance products? In general, we try to look at the market and see, can we match the best product on the market, or can we even build something better? So in the worst case with us, you'll get a product that is as good as what the best thing is on the market. In the best case, you'll get something much better. Without spoiling too many of the details, for legal insurance, we've basically taken the best terms and conditions that exist on the market at the best price and put a level on top that we're excited to show you today. So it's really, if you don't speak German, then this is the legal insurance for you. Cool, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. And if you've been in Germany for a little while already, you'll probably know this. Germany is huge on insurance. And if you've just arrived, then yes, I can tell you insurance is huge in Germany. For legal insurance, that means there is, I think, over 23 million legal insurance policies active right now. So that just tells you the level of excitement Germans have on insurance, I guess. And I think one of the reasons so many people have legal insurance is the really efficient court system for the most part. And yeah, just a lot of rules that are in place and can be enforced through legal means.
Cool. Yeah. So today we're going to be looking at three big topics. So the first one is, what is legal insurance, and how and why the hell would you consider buying it? The second one is, very importantly, what's not covered. So I think, as important as knowing what's covered is understanding what it's not there for. And then a little bit of an in-depth review of all the different kinds of things that exist in German law and where legal insurance can help you.
So legal insurance is essentially, I think, two important parts as to what it covers and what it does for you. So on the one hand, it just gives you access to legal insurance. So it gives you a place to start if you have a legal problem, and we'll show you what that looks like. And then if you have a bigger issue at play, say you need to take someone to court over a wide variety of different topics, then legal insurance would cover the cost for the lawyer, for the court, or if you're in disagreement outside of court, then it could also cover the cost related to these kind of disputes. So
yeah,
go ahead. No, I can go. So we talked about giving you access to legal insurance, and one of the most exciting parts about legal insurance is that access is really easy. And Rob, I think you've lived in the UK as an expat. I myself have also lived in different countries as an expat. So we understand that it can be really frightening if you're in a new country to even start looking at any kind of issue from a legal perspective. And this is where we're starting to help you with just booking a consultation with a lawyer. This is happening over the phone, and this will basically cover any legal question that you have. It can all be done through the app with just a couple clicks, and then someone is calling you. You can explain your issue in more detail and get some immediate advice as to how you might be able to proceed.
Yep. And a pretty amazing statistic on this one is, as Julian said, if you're an expat, you don't know the system. And because it's free to use, instead of, for example, a €250 initial consultation, fellow customers use an initial consultation is 10 times more than the average person. So, it really is that easy to book an initial call, and it's included for free in the Feather policy. So, speak to a lawyer, find out what are your rights. That's always free, even if it ultimately isn't covered by the policy, or if, for example, there's a waiting period or anything else. This initial call will help you, and it is always free. Yep. And if that call isn't enough, then this is when the policy, kind of the second part that Julian was talking about, kicks in. So it's, access to legal rights. A lot of the legal call is actually understanding your rights. So having an English speaking lawyer that can understand your situation and explain to you, can your landlord do this? Can your employer do this? Is this other person trying to, submit a claim against you and they can't? This actually helps in a lot of times. Just knowing what your rights are means you don't have to go to court. And if someone does take you to court, then we'll help you enforce your right. That might be in front of court, or that might just be, a cleverly written email from our lawyer to the other person that explains, you very well know your rights and you have legal support if you need it. And these two things together kind of summarize the legal policy in Germany.
Yep. And then before we jump into all of the great things that are covered by the policy, which is really a lot, we wanted to kind of be extra clear about what isn't covered by the policy. And this is just based on our experience from our many customers, where we see that sometimes it's not entirely clear what isn't or is covered. And I think the two most important things to keep in mind when it comes to legal insurance in terms of coverage exclusions are, on the one hand, typically things that come up immediately after you've purchased the policy may not be covered. So there is something that is called a waiting period, which we're going to cover in a little bit more detail here in a second. And then things that already started before the policy was purchased are typically never covered. So you can't retroactively cover issues through legal insurance. It doesn't apply to the phone consultation. As we've said, you can ask about ongoing issues there, but for anything further, you wouldn't have coverage for legal insurance in this case. And then there are a couple other less important exclusions. One being, if you're self-employed or freelancer and doing that full-time, then issues relating to those activities are not covered. And also, if you just have a contract and want to review it, then that is also not something that legal insurance can help you with, unless there is a ongoing or upcoming issue related to that contract specifically. And as for the legal insurance that we're discussing today, we essentially have two different plans, a basic plan and an advanced plan. The name basic suggests that it's not very good, but I think we're underselling it here a little bit. It's definitely great coverage that will be very comprehensive and cover most areas of your life. It's also, of course, slightly cheaper than the advanced plan, and based on our experience, the most popular plan with our customers. So if you're looking for the best value plan, I would probably go for the basic one instead of the advanced one. But the advanced one does have a few extra benefits, like, for example, I just said that freelancing activities aren't covered, but if you have a side job on top of your regular employment, then advanced legal insurance may cover some issues related to that, and also the waiting period. So the time that you have to wait until you can start using your insurance is sometimes shorter on the advanced policy versus the basic policy.
Cool. The next big section that we have is giving you an overview of the types of rights that you have and where the legal insurance can help. So these are these two pieces, access and then coverage for the unforeseeable legal fees. And we're just going to walk you through, even if you don't buy the policy, maybe it's a very, very helpful overview of German law, all the different kind of rights that you might have.
Exactly. So we're starting with the most common issues that you could typically have in your personal life. So yeah, obviously the law is very, very complex. So we could go through a long list of stuff here, but we're trying to kind of keep it a little bit shorter. So any kind of personal contracts, and there's really a lot of those, are covered by your policy. So say, for example, you purchase something online and it comes to you and is already broken, and you need to raise a dispute with the seller. Maybe that's not going so well and you need legal help there. This is something that would be covered. Then when it comes to family law, of course, there can always be issues if you're entering into a legal partnership, and this would also be covered by the policy to a certain extent. Then social law in Germany, so any kind of disputes related to benefits that the state is granting or is rather not granting to you, are covered by the legal insurance policy. So this could be something like a dispute with your health insurance company, which is also a government entity and can therefore be, technically be sued through your legal insurance, or other administrative offenses, legal issues can be covered in your private life through legal insurance. And this applies both for the basic and the advanced plan, of course. Another thing that is quite popular and also very useful is, any kind of issue related to traffic is covered, or maybe not any kind of, but almost any kind of. So say, for example, if you're getting into a bike accident on the Berlin roads and need to get your bike repaired and want to recover the cost for the repair from the person that struck you, for example, or even worse, you might get into a traffic accident either as a driver or as a bicycle rider and need to claim for a loss of income because you haven't been able to work. Then again, legal insurance would pay for a lawyer, pay for the court, and help you make a claim there. Then another complex area of law is, of course, employment law. Many very specific employee rights are in place in Germany, and this is really a great achievement, I would say. But then when it comes to enforcing those rights, especially as an expat, it can sometimes be a little bit more difficult. Because you may not really know what rights you're entitled to, or it may not be really easy to basically enforce those entitlements with your employer without the help of a lawyer. And this is where, again, you could use the plan to help with that. And then because we've built this policy as kind of a more flexible plan where you can add add-ons and have certain things only if you really think that you need them. There is a home add-on, as we call it. So this would be useful to have if you're renting in particular. So it would cover disputes with your landlords, especially as an expat. Again, if you're arriving, oftentimes you have to move apartments a couple times. There can easily be some issues with your landlord. Again, especially if you're dealing with the sketchy Berlin landlord type. And then also other things like issues with your neighbors. Noise control laws in Germany are really, really strict. And typically, it's of course a little bit easier to maybe just talk to someone about the noise that they're making. But if they won't listen, then again, you have another level that you can go to make sure that they will listen to you.
Yeah, and how much does it cost? But depends on a lot of things, but you can broadly say it's between 20 and 30 euros a month. More like 20 for the basic plan and more like 30 for the advanced one. And a family add-on includes everyone in your household. So for example, if you have a partner living at the same address, then that costs about 5 to 10 euros more for full cover. It's an all-in-one price, and I think the moment you use the consultation, once, the first 12 months at least have right away paid for themselves. And it's just really good to have, peace of mind, for the peace of mind, it really is very affordable.
Yep, exactly. And like Rob said, adding a partner is really useful. That's really great value. So If there is somebody that is living with you, it would be a lot cheaper to add them as a partner onto one policy versus buying two policies, and adding a partner is typically about 10 euros extra per month. And this can really be anybody that is living with you in the same household. So you don't need to be married with them or have a legal partnership with them. It can just be someone else, of course. And when it comes to using legal insurance, then we've already showed you that for the phone consultations, you can do this through the Feather app. But of course, the same would be applicable if you're needing to take it a step further. Then again, submitting a claim is super easy. It works on your Android, your Apple phone. We have an app that allows you to just file a claim without necessarily talking to anybody. Then your claim is approved, and you can select your lawyer based on whoever you prefer working with, which is great because then you actually have the chance to seek out somebody that is also English speaking. And if you're not so sure as to who might be able to help, then we can also help you recommend a lawyer. On top of that, typically you don't need to pay the lawyer directly. If your claim is approved, then legal insurance pays the lawyer, and you're not required to upfront any money to them.
Yeah, deductibles, they improve every year. What is a deductible? That's the amount of money that you have to pay yourself before the insurance kicks in. And the deductible starts at 300 euros per year per claim, per claim, and it reduces every year. So after 3 years, there's a €0 deductible. The reason this exists in this plan is some people seem to attract lawsuits. There's some people that will literally have 2 to 3 lawsuits a year. And those people, for those people, legal insurance would have to be way more expensive. And in order to make it kind of affordable for regular people that, for example, very occasionally need help via the consultation hotline, which is always free, or every now and then there's a risk that something happens, but it's a very low risk. That's the way it's built this way. So it's necessary to have these deductibles to make it cheap. And the way we really want it to work is if you generally don't use it, but once in every couple of years you use it, it's a very, very good policy. And if you try to use it several times a year, you're better off going to another provider. But you'll end up paying 2 or 3 times as much as this policy costs. Exactly. Yeah, and then finally, we also don't lock you into the plan. So if you use the plan and you're unhappy at any point, hit cancel in the account. It is really that easy. Hit the button, hit cancel, confirm that you want to cancel, and by the time the billing period runs out, your cover will end. It's that simple.
And purchasing the insurance, of course, is also just as easy. So this can be done on the website, featherinsurance.com/legal insurance. This is where you can actually sign up for the policy. If you already know what you want, if you're already set on the basic or advanced plan, then it's really super fast and probably takes 2 minutes to complete. You don't need a German bank account if you don't have one yet. You can pay with a credit card or other payment methods if you prefer. And if you have any questions, then there is a great, very, very extensive FAQ section really covering a lot of questions if we can't cover them here today already. And you can also always schedule a one-on-one call with a legal insurance expert where they'll help you with your specific questions around legal insurance if you're not so sure about anything. Yes, questions. I think I already saw a couple in the chat. If you have any more, please go ahead and post them there. Now I just need to find them, Rob. Maybe you can.
If you triangle, square, circle, and what we'll do is I'll read out the question, and then you can answer, and then it's easy for people to follow along.
Sounds good.
So question 1 is regarding the app. Is it available through the Play Store?
Yes, it is. So you should be able to find the app. If you search for Feather Insurance, then it's available on the Play Store.
Yep, great. Question 2, in case of moving from an existing legal insurance where no claims were filed for around 3 to 4 years, then what will the deductible be in this case?
Yes, so of course, it depends on the exact time that your existing legal insurance has already been in place. But if you haven't used it and are claim-free, then we'll attribute this time towards your feather policy, and your deductible will actually be reduced. So you don't need to wait for it to fall again.
Yep, exactly. So if you've got 3 years claims-free, it'll be a deductible of €0. So in your case, it looks like it'll be €0. Yeah, great. From what month does the legal insurance start to be active?
So it's active basically immediately. So you can select the start date that you want if you purchase it, and then the time that you have to wait until claims are covered depends on the specific legal issue that you're facing. So we already said in the beginning that if you're currently already facing a legal issue and want to purchase legal insurance for that, then probably it's not covered. There's some exceptions to this. And then on top of that, anything that is really unforeseeable is typically covered right away. But like I said, it depends on the specific issue that you're having. So if you're signing up for legal insurance, we'll give you the exact rules, and you'll be able to figure out what the exact waiting time, as we call it, is, that you need to wait until the policy is ready to be used outside of the phone consultations. The phone consultations you can really do immediately. Once your coverage is confirmed, you could schedule a call and have a consultation with a lawyer.
Great. Yep. Does the legal insurance package cover consultation with the lawyer?
Yes, I think we've covered that a little bit. So phone consultations are covered. That's the most common way to access lawyer consultations, I would say. And all of the people answering the phones are actually licensed lawyers based in Germany. And of course, they're English speaking. So that should be the best way to consult a lawyer. And then if you need to take it a step further to get additional help on your case, maybe with some documents to review and such, for this, you could find your own lawyer or basically ask us for one. And then, yeah, that would also be covered.
Great. Assume that you get in a dispute in another country of the EU. Is it covered by feather?
Great question, actually. So this is, again, something where there's a little bit of fine print. So if you want a really precise answer, please write in. You can send us an email to hello@featherinsurance.com, and we'll be very, very specific. The more general answer is that in certain cases, you're limited to just Germany. So for example, I mentioned that family law is covered by the policy, and this would typically just be disputes within Germany. And then if there's, for example, property-related issues, so if you're buying property in another EU country, then there could also be some limitations around that. So that might not be necessarily covered. But there are also many issues that may be covered even if they are in another EU country. So it depends a little bit.
Cool. Does feather legal insurance cover self-employed individuals' claims?
So if you're self-employed full-time, then legal insurance doesn't cover you. For this, you would have to have a specific professional legal insurance. If you're on the advanced plan, and if you're really just having a small, let's call it a side gig, where you're making a little bit of money with less than 22,000 euros annual turnover, your legal insurance may cover the issue related to that self-employment. But generally speaking, it's not covered.
You can get it, for example, for travel and personal, just not your work. You know, it's just the work component that is not covered, right? Yeah. Cool. You mentioned a partner can be added for €10 extra. And what is the difference between individual and family cover?
The difference is mainly that multiple people are covered. So if, for example, you have a partner and you add them to your policy for the €10 extra, maybe they have a separate, like they're also employed, and then they get into a dispute with their employer, then they would be covered through your policy, which would then, of course, be their policy, as in like a family policy in general. So it just covers multiple people. I think children are typically also covered on the single policy, depending on their age. So you may not need to buy the family policy if you're just covering children.
Great. And the last question is Adina. She's trying to book a call with a consultant, but it was not working on the website. We will immediately reach out to you via chat, or you can, we'll help fix this problem for you right away. Cool. And then a new last question. I have the advanced plan, and from what I understand, Feather has connected me with a Munich-based legal company. Instead of acting like a broker, or more like a liaison between the customer and the company. That's a really good.
We're getting a little bit technical here, and I think we've already covered it a little bit. So technically speaking, Feather is an MGA, so we're a managing general agent, and that means that basically we're issuing our own policies, we're building our own plan, and we control the whole experience. So everything that you would ever do, you would typically do it with Feather or with Feather's help. In terms of using different insurance companies, we are using different risk areas. So from that point of view, we are acting as an insurance broker, if you will. But then it also depends a little bit more as to the exact services that you're booking. So for example, even though I'm a trained lawyer, I don't advise people on their legal issues if they're reaching out to us at Feather. So we are using external legal advisors for that. So if you've booked a phone consultation, then you will be connected to those external advisors, which are then contacting you.
Yep. And we offer a really broad range of services, and it's impossible for us to be the best at everything. So we much prefer to partner with different services that allow us to, have legal experts in every single niche that exists. So this is, not just us do that, but pretty much every insurance company works with these specialist legal firms. Cool. 2 more last questions. If there is a damage caused to an apartment that I'm living in as a renter and I have to pay for the repair costs and later would like to reimburse, in this case, should I consider using legal insurance or personal liability insurance?
So it depends a little bit. If you are feeling that the things that your landlord is claiming from you are unjust and that they have no entitlement to those repair costs, for example, then it could be that your legal insurance would help with that. But typically for these kind of issues, you could first use your personal liability insurance to cover the cost for repair there. So if you have that issue and you have a Feather liability insurance policy, you can reach out to us with that problem and we'll help you along.
Okay. And last question, this is a good one. If I decided to stop my legal insurance for a couple of months, let's assume that this month I've been laid off from the company and I need legal support. I will activate my legal insurance back. Is it going to cover my lawyer immediately?
This is a scenario where most probably the legal issue would not be covered because you're still under the waiting period. So if you cancel your policy, if it's inactive and purchase again, then you also have to wait again. So legal insurance is really something that you don't necessarily buy it for a specific legal issue. You buy it more to be generally protected throughout your life for any legal issue that may come up that typically you can't foresee. I think we have one more question.
Yep, sorry, I was on mute. Exactly. One last question. Document reviews are covered, then how is reviewing of contracts before signing not covered? Another good question.
Did I say document reviews are covered? I don't think I did.
No, I think it's if there's a specific need for them to be reviewed, then we will review them. But it's not like every single contract you ever want to sign, send it to us and we'll review it. It's I think that's what this comment is getting at.
I can clarify that, of course. Yes. So basically, if you're having a phone consultation with a lawyer, they're obviously not going to be able to help you review a whole bunch of documents during that consultation. So for any kind of claim where a lot of documents would be involved and it's just a little bit more complex, you would have to file a real claim with a lawyer, and then for such cases, if there's like a real claim, a real legal issue going on, of course, you can send in all of the documents related to that issue, and those documents will be reviewed.
Great. Okay. Yeah, thanks. And thanks for all the in-depth questions. I think people have obviously looked at this policy before and had some really good questions. Yeah, we'll be sending around a recording of this one afterwards. If you've got any more questions, you can write to us in your account in the chat function. Super easy to sign up for the policies. Just go on the website and sign up for legal insurance. And if you've got any more questions, and please let us know. And finally, we're going to send you a little survey as well afterwards to let us know how we can make these more useful. Yeah, as always, thanks a lot. Thanks, Julian. Thanks for the questions, and have a good evening, everyone.
See you around. Bye-bye.
Bye.